Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is brother Amawam Makar back with another lesson, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Dash. As always, the honors goes out to the apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. Yeah, brief lesson. You know, these Edomites, man, they're losing the plot and they're running around the earth now claiming that they're the victims of everything. We say it as we say it over here in the UK, they're taking the piss. Alright, they're taking the piss, and I'll tell you why they're taking the piss. They're complaining about, white males being victimized, being removed from media and being replaced by blacks and whatever. And women, I don't know why every time I start this, so like in my cat at the moment, every time I start doing a lesson, this guy wants to start talking. Anyway, yeah, these guys are losing, man. They're acting like they're the victims, and these are the same people that are in a position of power and have been for such a long time, colonized nearly the entire earth. They're privileged, that phrase white privilege, or we should call it Edomite privilege, really. But it's really on this earth, because Edomites don't all look like, white people. But so on this earth, really, is white, is a pale privilege, man, to say that, because, they call it the complexion for protection. They have that complexion that, they can walk into places and get loans and get jobs easily. They can have, when it comes to, having qualifications for particular jobs, a Jake can be better qualified and not get the job. They complain about things like DEI in America, diversity, equity, and inclusion, because they're worried about Jake's taking their positions, man. Well, they're not worried because Jake is taking over, because he's not. That's not going to happen until the kingdom. But they're worried because Jake is coming up to the same level as them. Imagine that. That's what they're worried about. They're feeling oppressed because Jake is not as downtrodden in certain places as they think we should be. So now they're playing the victim. You've colonized the entire earth. Really, not only physically, but spiritually and mentally, man, with your doctrines. And now you want to play the victim, and the reason why is because you're going down. The balance is shifting, and they can feel it. Let's read this, man, because they're being exposed, man. That's why it's really about them being exposed. Now the internet is out there exposing them, in their day-to-day racist behaviour. I'm talking about the low-level ones, by the way. Because really, that's all the average peon in this world knows, is how the low-level ones move. They don't really know how the elites of these Edomites are moving. We can get into that, but these low-level ones, man, they're walking around exuding that same air of importance that the elites of their people do, because they know that even the poorest, most downtrodden Edomite thinks he's better than a so-called black man, the Israelite. That's how much pride they have, man. Let's read this. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord, let me call it 2 Thessalonians 2:1. It says, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him. That's what we do. We've gathered together, right? Yeah, we've been gathered together. The Lord has gathered us together through the Spirit. Men who have not known each other have come together to do what? To teach one word. That's spiritual in itself. You don't underestimate the power of that. It shows you that this thing is real, amongst other things. It says, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, nor be troubled, neither by the Spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Hamashiach is at hand. And we're in that day. And we've been in that day for some time, but it's in the Lord's time. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And who is that man? It's Esau, Edom. Now, the other heathens, as well as our own people, are starting to realize, openly now, because they've always had it in their mind, but now we see in it, like I said, with the social media and whatnot, that they are the devil, man. They're the devil that the Bible speaks of, alright? The son of perdition, the son of destruction, right? That's all they bring. The same people that will come up against us, with the white supremacy, the so-called white supremacy attitude, have been oppressed by the same people that they want to protect, man. They'd rather side with, these other heathens, the Moabites, the Edomites, the Ammonites, and all of that, and the Hamites. They wanna side by side with Esau, as long as it's against us, man. Because you have to go back to Psalms 83. The whole world is against us, man. And that's another thing. Our people are starting to realize that now, that everybody is against us, and they can't figure out why yet. But we know the truth. It's because we are the Israelites, man. Verse 4 says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High, but he's not, man. Right? He's not. It says, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. He's going to expose himself. The scriptures talk about, causeth his tongue to fall upon himself. Everything is, you've got people in the UK, these Edomites in the UK, wanting to protest, about brown people coming over here, but they're proud when they talk about how their people colonized the earth. Yeah, we took over the earth, we colonized it, because we had the technology, we had the power, we had the means to do it. And if you had the means to do it, you would do it. That's what they say to justify their wickedness. But now, when other people are coming over to use the same resources and that these people have stolen from other lands, they're getting upset about it. Because they're wicked, man. There's no good in them, man. Let's read on. It says, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Who's he that letteth? It's the Most High Yahweh, man. It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. Right? What's the spirit of his mouth? That's the prophets, the words of the scriptures that we bring out. The scriptures itself sitting on the shelf it doesn't have to hold the same power without the men of the Lord wielding it and speaking the words, man. It says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. Because they're liars, man. And, they want to believe a false history. They believe that they're, they are the be-all and end-all of everything. They created everything. Science, mathematics. They think they've done all this stuff, when in truth they haven't done anything. Their power, their reign of power has not been very long. When you compare them to other societies and civilizations and rulerships that have been on this earth, man. They're new to this. It was such a short reign of rulership, man. It's just funny, because they're about to go down. Excuse me, I'm getting tired here. Where was I? Yeah. And with all deceivableness and unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause Yahweh shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. And if they believe a lie, these Edomites believe a lie. They believe that, they believe they're, powerful, man. Which is not the case. Just gonna get a few more scriptures, man. These devils are going down. And, that's what we're waiting. It's going to be a glorious thing. That's what the world is waiting for, man. No, this is not what I don't know what I'm doing here. So I can, Mark 13:3 says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of them, a sign when all these things shall be fulfilled? And Yahushua answering them began to say, take heed lest any man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I can't even see what I'm trying to read. I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And when you shall hear, we already just read it. They try to act like the Most High. They try and tell you. They have people believing that they know how the universe was created and stuff like that. With their Big Bang theories and all that, and people would rather believe in the Edomite man and his pseudo-science, his BS science, than the scriptures, man. See, the problem here is that they're not what they think they are, and soon, they're going to be forgotten. Let's get that. Job 20:4 says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? And that's what they're scared of, because they know that they are on this earth. They are seen, or they believe, and they are seen as the standard, right? The gold standard, meaning that people look up to them. People, of other nations look, and our people look up to them and believe that they are the great, nation, because they say they've done all these things, which they haven't done. All they've done is robbed things. They don't create anything. They just steal and copy. Destroy. If they can't have it or emulate it, they destroy it. They poison everything they touch. That's why they're the son of perdition, man. he says, verse 8 says, he shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. Right? And that's future prophecy, because once they go into captivity and serve their purpose, they have to be destroyed. We can't have them around. They are the wicked. So imagine if the wicked are still in the kingdom of heaven after slavery, being allowed to walk around. What do you think they're going to try? What do you think they would try and do? I'm not saying they could do it, but what do you think they would try and do? They're the wicked, man. You think when we got them in captivity, they're going to be sorry for what they've done? No, they're still going to have the same pride, man. They're still going to think they can overthrow us. They're still going to want to try and escape and all that shit. They're not going to be sitting there just taking it. But they're going to have no choice, because we're going to have total power over them, man. He says his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. That's why you got so many of these so-called white allies out there shitting on their own people, because they the spirit was on them, the power shift, man. They know what their people have done, and guilt is set in, and remorse and fear more than anything has come upon them, man, because their people are going down. There's going to be a new world order for all. They're the end and we are the beginning, and we're going to get there right now. And it shows you that we're at the end, because they're in rulership, right? So this is the last. Let's just go to it. This is the last moment for them before it's all turned around. For the worm turns, basically, man. I'll start at 7. 2 Ezra 6 and 7 says, Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall the end of the first and the beginning of it there followeth? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Which means he's in rulership now. So, we're coming to the end, because we can see the prophecies are playing out. The MOTB is being prepared. There's wars, mini wars going on. Wars, that's wars and rumours of wars. The economies are just getting worse. Sedition amongst men, protests and riots all over the earth. The food is terrible, the water's terrible. This place is just, it's run down. Esau's, the caretaker of this place, and he's messed it up, man. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Right? The Lord gave them the power, and just to show what wickedness they'll do with it. And so when we enter into the kingdom, we're going to show them how it's supposed to be done. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So they know that the world is coming to an end. Alright, they know that the world is coming to an end. And there's nothing that they can do about it, man. And they don't even understand why. It's not like they believe that, don't believe in the Most High and that. They just think that, it's the politicians and the media and, all these other things that are, that are gonna be the reasons why they fall, man. Right? It's the Spirit of the Lord. He's taking away their permit, man. They've had a permit to rule this earth, basically, and he's taking it away. He's revoking their license, man. He's slowly revoking it. Put things back to the way it's supposed to be, man. Anyway, like I said, it was a quick one, man. You know, just to say that these devils, their time is up, man. That's the spirit that's on them right now. It's not going to be long until they're replaced. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, man. We just read it, you know. That's that, and that's not, you know. This is not a fairy tale we're dealing with here. We're dealing with the truth, right? So Salaki, if I found it sound a bit low or whatever, I'm a bit tired now, man. So I'm going to close this one. But first, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory, as always, to Yahweh Hashem Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.